This is Thoren. Welcome to segments from both my speech training and speech coaching. First, you're going to see segments from a seminar about how to become a better speaker. Secondly, you'll see segments from a speaker lab where I'm giving specific coaching ideas after listening to the person's speech. So here we go. We start with segments from my seminar. You will notice I explain a concept and then give my audience a demonstration. This 1-2 punch of explanation followed by demonstration is very helpful to the learner.
Because today we're going to be focusing on you and your amazing uniqueness as an individual person. One who stands, that lone solitary figure, looking out at a sea of faces and saying, how can I use what I have? How can I use what I know and how I deliver it to impact that audience? Is it effective? Does it help the audience? Does it facilitate communication? That's what we're looking for. Okay, a couple other things. I'd like to share with you an example of an emotional story. That an emotional stories can be designed to do two things. One, to get somebody to do something, or they can also be designed to get somebody to stop doing something. A positive emotion, a negative emotion. Now I want you, as you listen to me use these little vignettes, I want you to think about you and your PowerPoint presentation. I want you to think about the fact that there are those times, I know they're there for you, when you can flick that screen to black. You step forward, you stand, and you deliver. And after you stand and after you deliver, click, it's back on and you continue with your program. That's why I think it's so important that we don't get dependent upon anything else that robs us of the maximum utilization of who we are. What we know, who we are, how we sound, how we move, what we do. You see, I think that's what makes us unique. I guess the last thing I'd say to you is look to your own life for stories. And I was puzzled the first time somebody gave me that advice. I thought, how do I look to my life for stories? And I thought, well, it's pretty simple. What do I remember? There's not going to be any stories I'm going to find that I can't remember. So that's what I did. I thought, what are some of my memories? And that's where that memory of my uncle flashing the lights in the eyes of this other oncoming car came back to my mind, because I scared the hell out of me. I was a little kid, but we can die too. So what do you remember? What causes you to remember? You may not know why you remember. Think about that. Dig back into that a little bit. See if there isn't an emotion you felt. See if there isn't an excitement you felt. Well, hopefully this is just a little starter's list for you. As Naomi would say, we have the privilege of the platform. And as I leave you today, what I wish for you is that you experience the fullness of letting all of you show. Giving all you have to give. Why? That you may inspire others to do good. Thank you. Thank you.
The inability to speak effectively diminishes careers and results. I train and coach to maximize the impact and influence of managers, marketers, and political candidates. During this speech lab, I am coaching an incoming executive for content strategy and skillful delivery. Join in.
Every leader starts with what is. And there's some different viewpoints on what is even among members or constituents of the group.
But when you come to the what is as a leader, there's basically two tracks you can take. There's the track about what should be, and there's the track about what could be. Now, when you take the should be, my opinion here, when you take the should be, basically what you're attempting to do is shame people into change, because that's the should be approach. When you take the could be, you're attempting to inspire people into change. And part of the difference between the two is that when you take the should be, you have to preface what's bad about what is in order to present what should be. Whereas when you take the could be, you don't have to do any of the negative toward what is, you just move toward what could be. And for example, when people come up to me and ask me what the theme is going to be, and I tell them there's not going to be a theme this year, and they're puzzled as to whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Well, now, when you do the should, you then had to go back and preface about, we've always had a theme, a lot of people are going to be reluctant about giving up an annual theme, et cetera, all of which, in my opinion, does you no good as a leader. Contributes nothing to what I think you want to accomplish. Versus saying, we're going to go beyond an annual theme. We're going to go toward a 3 to 5 year strategic direction. And what this is going to mean to us as an association is, rather than thinking in incremental annual thoughts, we're going to look at a bigger, more dramatic impact. So you move then into the could be. Whenever you have like a political candidate, you're not too far off from a political candidate. Generally, the last thing you want to do is recognize that people may have a reason for fighting me on what I'm advocating. We talked about community. I made a note, some emotional feeling words needed here, because community is a feeling, not a fact. And how many of you have seen 3 good buddies that you haven't seen for a long while, that you have just loved seeing since you've been here? Just something that quick that brings the feeling into community. And then, depending upon the strategy you want to take, because it can be a kick-butt strategy about what you should do, and sometimes that's what organizations need. They need to be shaken up by somebody that pisses them off and shakes them up. And that is going to depend upon what your strategy is going to be. The other would be the could route. We could raise the bar. We could have